Hi, so this is going to be a longer video on editing drawing styles. So this is the model I have here. So if you can see, I have some plates here, which I'll just turn them off in the layers. So I have the yellow ones are cover plates, and the grey ones are representing expanded wire mesh, so expanded metal. And this is what we have underneath. So I'm going to provide like an elevation view from the front and the back, but I'll want to give two views, one for the plates and then one for the structure itself. So I have my basic one here. So if you can see, if I open the camera, it's set to elevation view ADM 330 seconds, sorry. So this is going to be my start point. So let's go back to the drawing. So I've put this on this sheet here, E100. So let's go back to E100 and see what we have. So our start point is, it's not awful. I can see these plates here, but I can't see the beams behind. I think that's because of my depth setting on my camera. So let's check on the depth setting here, and yeah, it's reaching slightly into the beam. So what I'll do is I'll just set that to go back a little further. So I want the rear to go back to 30 inches, and we'll go back in here. So we can change all the visibility of these and everything now once we start switching this around. Alright, so we can see all the way through. So we can see that the beams are set to just show visible. The angles here are set to show hidden, so they must be separated. This is the channel here. Alright, so first of all, we're going to create a new drawing style for the plates. So we can see this is a plate. So this is a plate. This is a plate. So you can see it's highlighting the plate here. Alright, so what we're going to do is let's go in and we'll start playing around with it. This is how I recommend to edit your drawing styles. So go to output. It might be the only way to do it, really, to be honest with you. You can just keep applying your changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into plan view. We're going to pick the elevation view. This is the one we're using. So we're just going to copy it. Always just copy, not deep copy. You might see some extra stuff in mine because I've made it mistakenly deep copied maybe once. So elevation view, and then we'll call this cover plates. So we're going to edit it just to show the cover plates. Cover plates, ADM, okay. So now we want to jump down a step, and we'll click on this, and it's 1/4 that's okay. Elevation view, so this next step we want to create a new one also, so just name it the same, cover plates. ADM, alright, and then go down to the next level. You're going to click in here, the view direction is okay, object presentation is where we want to go next, and then we want to create a new one of these. So this is where most of our changes are going to take place in this last step. It's not actually the last step, there's another step, but out of the 3 main steps, this is the last one. Cover plates, right? And space. Excuse me. And okay. And what we want to do now is Yeah, so we're good. So our object presentation has changed. You can see here the three names, cover plates. I should have kept them all the same. So let's go back into this one. And let's change it to cover plate. Try and keep them all the same. And this one also cover plate will do. We don't need to have plural. Okay, alright. So now we're good. So apply that and then okay. So now we're going to go back to the model and we're going to check. Let's turn back on the plates. So these plates I have created model role. There was already a model role for cover plate, I believe. So click on this and we can see naming is cover plate. Okay. And let's check this other one. Naming expanded metal. Okay. So let's go back into the drawing style again. Back into the drawing style. And we can go to main part plate because they're main part plates. So let's go to main part plates. Click on this. We want to create a new one. So scroll down to the bottom. You can see this is the one I just created. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into that one. And we can see the model objects, main part plates. And you can see what's in here. So we don't have much. You can see here's my extra ones, which I messed up. So main parts without model role. So if we go to main parts with model role, all model roles. Alright, so with model role is here. And yeah, so we don't have any cover plate, right? It's with model role. So I'm just trying to see if there's anything similar. So this beams, bracing. So there's no main parts with plates. So what we'll do is, if we go back without model role, we'll just go to the plate one here. So this is a plate one without model role. So you can see it says all model roles. So I create a new one and I'll call it main part plate, main part cover plate. Or maybe I'll do plate and then do cover after it. Cover, and I want to put that in one with model roles because I'm going to put model roles in there. So main part plate. So we can see it's all model roles. I don't want it to be all model roles. I want it to be cover plate. So let's go and find cover plate. Sorry, more C's than I expected. So cover plate. And then we'll add another one. And we'll go in here. So now basically this one that I've created is going to firstly control the cover plates. I can create a new one for the expanded metal if I want them to be treated differently. For now I don't want them to be treated differently. So I'll just add the expanded metal to the cover plates because they're all kind of cover plates at the moment. Apply that. So now we're good. So go back. So now if we leave this at the bottom, this main part plate up here will be hit first and that will be the one that's used, and we don't want that. So what we want to do is we want to move this up above that one. I usually move it all the way up to the top, but let's just move it here and we'll see. So now if I go back in here and I go to change the label for this. Sorry, I have a bit of a frog in my throat today. So there's no leader line. That's not what I want. So let's click up here and we have mark, name, leader, 330 seconds. That's what I want. And leader line, yes. So let's see what happens when I do this. Apply. Let's just check. Hold on, apply. Okay, let's go back here. This is a 1/2 inch to 1. So what you want to do, it's good practice so you're not screwing around with the size of the drawing while you're playing with it. Go back up here and go into your second one and go to view and change this to 1/2 as to 1. Apply, use, and then at least it won't change size. So now we can update this. And as you can see, there's our levels. So, I mean, it's by no means perfect, but, and it's a little hard to see the plates. I know I numbered these in order, so this top one should be P1. The side, yeah, the top one's the side one. So I'm just wondering why this front one has no label. This front one should have a label. So let's see. This front one has a label. So these have labels. So yeah. So what I'm going to do is, these labels are too long. I don't want these labels that long. So what I'll do is I'll go back in here and we'll go back into our object presentation. Is there any other plates here? No other plates there, I don't think. Cover plate. Alright, let's go back. You can change it here also. So I just want to do mark. Just want to see if I have a mark. Single part. Mark and depth. So let's go in. We'll create a new one. So if I come in here, I want to have one that's just the mark and the leader and 3/30 seconds. I thought I had created one before, but I don't see one. Mark with leader. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll copy this one and I'll change this to mark. I won't have the name, so let's get rid of the name. So it's going to be mark leader ADM 3/30 seconds. Okay, and then we need to come down to change this one before we change this here. So we're going to do the same, mark leader, and we're going to delete this at the start. Okay. So now the leader is turned on. Sometimes this happens where you can't see what's in here. It's only been happening to me recently. So let's go back in and see. There it is. If I click on this, there's the name. So we want to delete the name. Apply. And then use, and that should change these labels to ones that have just a name. So there you go, so you have just a name. Now, you can't see the beams behind, right? So, let's see. So I'm not going to get into going through all these labels, you can just kind of see where it's going. So this beam is labeled because it's sticking out here. So we can't actually see these beams. So I don't want to label these beams, but I do want them to be visible. Let's just see what they look like if we make them visible. So let's go back in. We'll go to object presentation. And main part beam. This one. And you see it's visible exact. I don't want that to be exact. Oh, that's the side width, so we do want that one to be exact. But I don't know if I want to see that one. I probably do. So what I'll do is I'll turn this one, instead of visible exact, sorry, sometimes they don't click very well. visible exact, I want to have visible exact hidden, and for the main part beam going the other way across the screen, which is the regular ones. And this other one, this beam would be for ones that are not numbered or are single parts. And this one I want to be visible hidden. Visible hidden, I think I have to scroll this way, there we go, visible hidden, apply. I also don't want them to be labeled, so what I'll do is I'll just do this first. So you can see the changes taking effect. So now we can see the beams in behind, so at least when we plot this out, I'm not going to tidy up any of those beams, but let's have a look. Or any of those labels, sorry. And let's just have a quick look at what that looks like. So it's a little dark, so we can change all those colors and everything. And if I zoom in here, you know, we can certainly play around with this more, but at least they can see. Yeah, maybe I should turn off all those beams in behind. But this is just showing you the process of how to turn on and off things. So I don't want these beam labels, so I'll turn those beam labels off. So let's go back into it. And beam labels, so we want to go back into our drawing process. It'll open right up in it. And then we want to go to our beams. So just so you understand, this one here is side width. So if you click on it, you can see it's beams looking in on the end of them. And the other one is beams long ways in front of you. So if we change this to, because I've created a new one, this is just changing it here, so we don't have to worry about this affecting anything else. Turn off, apply, use, and those beam labels should disappear. So those beam labels disappeared. Alright, so now we're getting somewhere. So we can't see the columns in behind. I think maybe it'd be beneficial if I could see the columns. I don't know if I want to go through the whole way. No, that's probably better I don't. If I go back any further, it's going to start labeling other things. Well, let's just see what happens. Let's go back further with this camera. And we'll go back. Let's go back 4 feet. And then we'll go back here, select, go to labels and dimensions, update detail. Because it looks kind of weird up here without the columns. So there's the columns, so, but now it's also showing these plates on the back. So I don't want to see those plates on the back, because that's just creating more confusion. Now, I'll keep working on this after the video, but what we're going to do now is those plates. These ones are good. So what I'm going to do is, let's see if we turn off those plates, what happens. So, object presentation. We have to go back to that one we created, which is plates, cover plates, and they're set to visible hidden, so I don't think I really need to see the hidden ones, right? So I think if I just look at visible, we can see what we get from that. Apply, use, and then that will just show plates that are visible. So now that's cleaned that up quite a bit. Now we can see these plates. Now I can turn off these plates also. So if we just trick around with it a little more, just so you can kind of get a better feel for it. So those plates should be governed by this. I may be mistaken, but this should be governed by this. So what we can do is change this also to just visible. And click on this, and those plates should disappear. Right, so what I did was, they were main plates, so that didn't work. And the reason that didn't work is because they were main plates. So let's go back in. And we'll do these plates here, all. Now have a quick scroll down, see if any of these are plates. Graining, pickets, bracing. So this should be the one. So if I turn this, sorry, sometimes it doesn't open. So if I just change this to visible, apply. So just remember, main part plate is a main part plate, obviously, and plates are all the other ones. Now you can create a new one of these for every type of plate you have if you want. So if you want to turn off all the plates except for one, you could turn this off, create a new one, give it the model role, and then turn that on, and then you can turn on that one plate. So apply, use, and this should turn off those plates in the background. Right, so turned off the plates. This is an angle, this is a beam running the other direction. The bolts now obviously don't make sense with the plates gone. So if you want to turn the bolts off, go back in. And we want to go down to the bolts. The bolts are down here. You can see they're visible hidden. So really it's pretty basic once you kind of get your head around the whole idea. Apply. It can be intimidating, but it's not really that difficult. It just takes time, and I guess people don't have time. I don't have time either, but I try to do it as I'm working on projects. I do it slowly. So as you can see, the bolts are gone, but we can still see the holes. So we probably do want to see the holes. So that should be fine. So look, this is not the finished product by any means, but it kind of gives you an idea where you can go. So now the next view I want is going to be an elevation view without the plates. Now the whole point of going through this process is if I spend 20 minutes doing this now, I can use this later on and don't have to do it again. So if we copy this across here, let's say we want to create a view that doesn't have the plates, and we just want to see the beams. So it gets easier now. As you can see, we'll open this and we'll create a new one. So we're going to go back in and create a new one. So copy it, and I'm going to call it no cover plate. Sorry, what am I doing? Caps lock. No cover plate. Okay. Going to come in here, go to the next level, go to view definition, create a new one, and we'll call this no cover plate. Okay. And then go down to the next step, object presentation, create a new one. It seems like it's difficult, but really it's only like it just takes a minute to do this. You just need to spend the time, and you'll save the time. You'll have the time made back in the next day. Sorry, excuse me. So right, we've created a new one. So we already have the elements in here we want to use. So what do we need to do? Just think back to what you just did. So we're going to go to the cover plates, and we're going to click on them. You can go here also to the next step, and we're going to turn them off. apply that. Let's go back to object presentation. So you can see the cover plates are turned off. Also, don't want to have any labels for them if they're turned off, right? So let's go to others and off. So now the cover plates are turned off and our label is turned off. The plates on the inside are visible, that's okay. As you can see, you can edit it as you go, so let's just see what happens when we do this. So this now is on the second one that I copied over. So now we can delete that, so you can see the plates have gone. Magic. So we can, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. So what we want to do now is, obviously I've taken out the beam labels, so they are main part beams. So let's go to our main part beams. Let's scroll, main part beams right there. Visible hidden, that's okay. Let's go in here. We want to do part marks. And how do we want to label this? So we want to label this with not single part. We want to do main part. So mark and name. Let's copy off. Sorry, let me go into it. It's easier to read it. It's a little difficult to read that there. So let's go in here. And the label is turned off. So let's come up here. Part marks. The depth doesn't matter. So you can see I've made copies here by mistake, so I really need to reset my whole advanced steel, but I'm not worried about it for right now. Apply, use. You might wonder why sometimes mine don't show up. I think it's because I use 3/32. And this is probably not set in this drawing style. So let's see if my units are not set to 30 seconds. That's my own error in this prototype. You need to set it up in your prototype. And also in here, length units, you can see it's not 30 seconds. Okay. So when I click on these, this should be 30 seconds. Yeah. Whereas if you don't have that set to 30 seconds, it'll just show you it's like 1/8, even though it isn't 1/8. So that's these beams. So now we have the beams numbers where we want them. So just drag them across a little bit. The beams also covers the columns unless you want to change it. You can give it its own one for the columns if you feel like it. So that's kind of not too bad. This job I'm providing all the piece details for approval, so it's not really that technical on the approvals really, because they're going to look at all the piece details. So as you can see, this is one drawing style, and this literally is out of it's literally just changed that drawing style, created a new one, changed it, and like a couple of minutes later you can get a view that looks totally different. So I'm going to go back to this one now, and I think I'm just going to turn off a lot of these things. I was going to turn off the video, but I guess if anyone is watching to this point, they're probably interested in just watching me trick around with it a little bit more. So what I'll do is I'm going to turn off most of these beams and stuff in behind. So what I'll do is I make sure I'm not in the wrong drawing style, because I'm in this one. I want to go to cover plate, go back in here, object presentation, and so what do I want to do? I want to turn off the plates, I want to turn off the beams, so let's go to beams, are off, main part beam. Just going to change these all to visible, right? So visible, And I will change this to visible, so we won't see it unless it should be seen behind the plate. Sorry, as I said, these can be difficult to click on sometimes. It brings you in here. So the beams are set to visible, the plates are set to visible, cover plates set to visible. Okay, let's see what that looks like. So just keep in mind that these angles are also governed, should be governed, unless I have a new object presentation to control them. So you can see these did not turn off with the beams. So that's interesting. So what we'll do is the beams and the channel is the channel is off. So what we'll do is we'll go back in and we need to find an angle. Let's see if there's one here with an angle. No angle, railing, stair, no, stair, ladder, no. Now, if you give it the wrong model roll, that could screw you up. So, angle bracing. Shouldn't be angle bracing. So what you can do is, if you're having trouble like this, let's cancel. It should be labeled angle, so let's go back and check. And let's turn off the plates. So let's turn off the cover plates. And let's turn off the expanded metal. Let's double click on this angle. Naming. And it's named as an angle. Alright, so we need to go back in. And let's go to output. So we need to find angle in here. So external objects. There's no label, so it's just visually turned on. So angle. So that angle is a single part. So there is no angle, so it should be governed by the same one as beams. And it's not. Let's see what this one is. Side width. That's not it. So let's check here, angle bracing. Check the model rolls. So this is the problem. So the angle bracing here is controlling it. So if you go in here into your bracing, so this is what I thought it was when I was scrolling through. So this is the only angle you can see up here. If these angles weren't here, it would be controlled by the beam. So these angle ones are the first one, not the side width, because that's the one that looks in on the end. That's not the one that's controlling it. This one here is controlling it. This one or this one, so it'll go from this one to this one. So, or no, they're main part, sorry, main part. It's not a main part, so that's not controlling it either. So let's go down through it again. So we're getting caught somewhere off. So what you can do, I'm not going to spend all day looking for it here, obviously. I'm kind of curious now what I'm missing. I'm missing something. Ladder. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll just go to beams and create a new one. Oh, sorry, create a new one. Come down here, click on this, and parts with model roll, and we'll put in angle, and the view direction all, and we want to turn them off, and I want the label also to be off. if you use it now, nothing will happen because it's controlled by one of these ones up here. So this is a kind of a workaround if you can't find it. You should stay looking to find it, to be honest. But this should work. If we go up here, move this up, and let's see if we put it here. We'll see what happens. Apply, use, and let's see if these angles disappear. Alright, so there's the angles gone. So now we have all these holes, which is a bit of a mess, but some of them are hidden holes. So what we'll do is, and these anchors, we don't need to see these anchors. Sorry. And so we'll go back in. Now you might say, oh, I don't have time to do this, but now when I do the other side, I'll already have this set up. And it shouldn't take that long anyway. So let's go to holes, visible, hidden, symbol, hatch, visible. So that's quite a lot. So that's probably too much. So why don't we just do, let's see what visible, hatch, visible looks like. We don't need to see these other ones behind. So that's pretty good, right? There's no holes in this. This expanded metal is just going to be welded right to it. This bolt, we can see we're missing a plate here. Or sorry, we're missing an angle here is what we're missing. You can see we've got some holes here. That's shear studs. Those shear studs should not be visible hidden. That's a shear stud also. So some of these shear studs are behind. So we'll go back in. Shear studs. And we just want to go to visible. Just want to see the visible shear studs. Alright, now let's clean that up. So these are shear studs with threads that these plates slide on over. And that is where we're at. And that looks pretty good. Just need to clean up the labels a little bit. There's an angle up here that's gone. So what we want to do is go back in. So I've just turned off all the angles, right? So what I want to do is go back to object presentation, go back into that angle I created. And I don't want to turn them all off. How about I just put on the visible ones? Apply, use. And let's see if these angles come back in. So it's quite simple. You might get tripped up a little bit, but there you go. There's the angles back in. Now I can label those angles. I can label the columns, whatever I need to. So as you can see, there's two views that are quite different to each other. But I just literally copied this one over to here and then just edited it a little. So I hope this helps. I'm not going to be, able to ask a lot of questions about things like this in the comments, unfortunately, because it's too long-winded. But if there was something you wanted to see, maybe I could just do a video. If you wanted to write in the comments or give me some feedback, would be good. Alright, thank you. Have a good day. Bye.